Hello, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana, and welcome to my site. This is an earlier picture of President Nelson, our current living prophet and apostle of the Lord. He's talking about nothing being impossible with God. So let's hear a little bit of this. We'll make a little commentary, but I want to talk about a mindset that with God, all things are possible.
Hand hath saved me. So the Lord,
Let me back up here. Excuse me.
as hazards of deep water. His teachings are based frequently on common understanding, but with uncommon results. Indeed, one might say that to teach his people, the Lord employs the unlikely. Warfare, for example, has been known since time began. Even in that ugly circumstance, the Lord has helped those obedient to his counsel. Going into battle, all would assume the obvious advantage of outnumbering.
Now we're talking about obedience. And the obvious advantage in warfare would be to outnumber your foe or outmaneuver them. Either way, the Lord sometimes wants faith more than he wants numbers.
An enemy. When God's disciple Gideon was leading an army against the Midianites, the Lord said unto Gideon, "The people that are with thee are too many, lest Israel vaunt themselves, saying, Mine own hand hath saved me." So the Lord directed Gideon to reduce his numbers. He first decreased the troops from 22,000 to 10,000. Then the Lord said to Gideon, "The people are yet too many." So another reduction was made. Finally, only 300 remained. Then the Lord delivered the victory to the outnumbered few.
Then the Lord delivered the victory to the outnumbered few. There must have been thousands against 300. I don't know, but they were greatly outnumbered, I'm sure.
Even more widely known than war is an understanding of childbearing. Everyone knows that old women do not bear children. So upon whom did the Lord call to bear Abraham's birthright son? Sarah at age 90.
A 90-year-old woman bearing a child? How can that be? With God, all things are possible. But even Sarah had to ask, how can this be?
When told this was to be, she asked a logical question. Shall I of a surety bear a child? From heaven came this reply, Is anything too hard for the Lord? So decreed, she gave birth to Isaac to carry the crucial Abrahamic covenant into the second generation. Later, for one of the most important events ever to occur, the other extreme was chosen. As all knew that an elderly woman could not bear children, it was just as obvious that a virgin could not have children. But Isaiah had made this prophetic utterance. The Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. When Mary was notified of her sacred responsibility, the announcing angel reassured, For with God nothing shall be impossible.
For with God nothing shall be impossible. Then why don't we use God more often? Why don't we use Christ and his tools and his prophets and his people more often? For with God, if nothing is impossible, we should surely use him more often. That is the challenge of this site and of the newsletter. With God, nothing is impossible. Remember that.
The expression deep water means danger. That very hazard challenged the Israelites, led by Moses, to the Red Sea. Later, they were led by Joshua to the River Jordan at flood time. In each instance, deep water was divinely divided to allow the faithful to reach their destination safely. To teach his people, the Lord employs the unlikely. Turning to our day, have you ever wondered why the Master waited so long to inaugurate the promised restitution of all things? Any competitor knows the disadvantage of allowing an opponent to get too far ahead. Wouldn't the work of the restoration of the church have been easier if begun earlier? Suppose for a moment you're a member of a team. The coach beckons you from the bench and says, You are to enter this contest. I not only want you to win, you shall win. But the going will be tough. The score at this moment is 1,143,000,000 to 6, and you are to play on the team with the 6 points.
We all laugh, but that was the astronomical odds against this church when it started. I won't play anymore. All I'm going to say is this is an introduction to looking at the tools that God has given us and that we should use every day and every moment of our life as we are challenged with almost impossible things to overcome in our imperfect lives. Remember, Christ worked with imperfect people that are often broken, often in trouble, often in a trial or tribulation that we don't choose, but that we are in. And through that trial, through that tribulation, miracles often happen. With Christ and with God, all things are possible. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Join me, subscribe to the newsletter, click on the button, and let's talk about doing the impossible with God, with Jesus Christ, with his modern day prophets, with his saints, and with other faithful individuals in and outside of his church. For with God, all things are possible. Good day.